TitleSearch.com once again with some information on a very specific type of title search known as an SBA title search or an SBA loan package. What happens is the SBA has a requirement that certain title searches have to be done for proceeds of loan funding through the SBA. Now, even though the SBA is the Small Business Administration, this process is almost more commonly used for FEMA disaster recovery funds. So what happens is you have a house and there's a hurricane that comes through or a snowstorm and the house is destroyed or has major damage. FEMA has a procedure for you to get federal funds to help you rebuild and repair that house. The way that they administrate it, because FEMA never had a process to be able to give funds to a person, is to use the SBA existing process. The SBA had a process to give out loans to people that had small businesses for decades, and FEMA just said, well, this process is already in place, let's go through that SBA search or the SBA loan process because it'll be a lot easier. And here's the way it works. FEMA decides to give you this money. It's normally in the form of a grant. So you're going to get to keep this money. They're going to give you $50,000 to fix your house. Well, the way they structure it is, here's the deal. We'll give you $50,000. We're going to set it up originally as a loan that you have to pay back. However, if you meet certain criteria, that loan will be forgiven. What are the criteria? It may be that you're required to actually fix the house and not just take the money and run. The other criteria is probably you have to live in the house and keep it for a certain period of time. It may be 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, who knows what. But you have to keep the house as your owned asset, and in many cases you have to live in it as a primary residence. So once that's done, then they're going to give you the money. The way they do it is they require you as a property owner to hand them a title search showing that, number one, the loan has been recorded. They send you the loan papers, you sign them, you bring them to the land records, they're recorded, and then once you prove that, then they give you the money after they're shown as being on title. They also have to show on that title search a 30-year chain of ownership to show the ownership history, that you've been an owner. There's no prior owners that may be questionable. They also want a full title abstract for current ownership showing liens and mortgages to make sure there's no excessive liens, no distress on the property that might encumber or risk their money on the property. It has to be signed by an examiner. This is very important. Many title searches don't have a signature. An SBA title search must have a signature, and not anybody, and not just anybody, can do an SBA title search. You have to have certain credentials and be a legitimate title company and hand them a correct title abstract on their specific form. They have a very specific form that has to be used for these title searches, and if they don't get it in that form, they're going to kick it back and the homeowner won't get their money as quickly. It has to show that the SBA was secured on title, as we said. It has to show that the deed to the current owner matches the name on the disaster relief package. There can't be substantial liens. There can't be anything which encumbers the SBA's lien position, title position. Once they have that, make sure the I's are dotted, T's are crossed. You get it to them, and it's funded by the SBA. Now, as a title search company, we understand we do every SBA title search as a rush. We know that it's not just a title search, a piece of paper, but it's somebody waiting for funds to rebuild their house. It's somebody waiting literally to get money to maybe relocate temporarily, to have alternate housing, to get the roof put up instead of blue tarp. So we run them all as a rush because this is not just a run-of-the-mill title search. It's a legitimate, urgent situation. And it's also very important to have the paperwork done right the first time, because when it's sent in, if there is a problem, you may not find out about it for a week or two. If one of the forms is not executed correctly, or if a lien is not shown the right way, or if that mortgage copy is not attached, they're going to kick it back, but they're going to do it by postal mail. It may take them a week to send it. You may not get it for another week after that, and all that time your money's being tied up. So it's important to get it right the first time. We also recommend sending it by priority mail, so that way they can get it. We can send it directly from our office if our client wants to, but an SBA title search is a very critical type of search that, number one, has to be correct, but also meets the bureaucratic red tape to get that funding for the